Good afternoon, everyone. This is Shannon Scott of Grave Talks, Many Things, coming to you live from Bonaventure Cemetery in Savannah, Georgia, at St. Patrick's Day weekend, the hour of hours. But I say live in that I'd hoped to shoot a live video through my YouTube channel, but the reception out here is bad, so I don't usually get the crispness that I think you deserve. So sorry about that. I don't know what that is. But we try to come out here every spring to do what we call our spring rite, and that is sharing with you our love of a certain novelist named Harry Hervey, a particular book of 1939, which you guys can buy, called The Damned Don't Cry, which is really what I call a disciple work of Savannah. You got to get your hands on it. The Damned Don't Cry. You know, it's like, what do they say? Do not pass go, do not stop, or is that it? Do not stop, do not collect $200, just go straight to wherever you buy books and get The Damned Don't Cry. I think you'll thank me for it, but you know, I'm a little biased, right? I've been in Savannah a while. But it's in this early azalea season, the azalea hour, that Harry Hervey, the novelist, would visit and share his gift with us, his love of nature, his love of characters. And so I'll always come out here to kind of set the mood for myself in spring. Maybe share some of that energy with you all, hoping that it catches you a little bit, or maybe a lot. But Harry Hervey is buried next to what I call the starter shrub, the igniter bush, that really is one of the earliest azaleas to light up. And I like to think it sets all of the others in motion. And I think Harry Hervey would be drawn to that idea. He was a romantic, a poet in a way. But Harry Hervey was born in Austin, Texas, 1900. He died of throat cancer at 50 years of age in 1951 in Savannah, buried here with his mother. If you come looking for the grave, it's right under that Scottish cairn. And he is in Section A, plot 97. Let me make sure my dyslexia is not. Yeah, so he's at 97A. There's the Hervey headstone, or sorry, footstone. Not too far from the 45-foot obelisk. The front of the cemetery, the house there, just 200 feet from us. But before I sneeze from all the pollen, let's get into it. Harry Hervey grew up in hotel lobbies of hotels, luxury hotels, that his family owned around the South. He made a study of a lot of characters and really added a lot to his spirit and his creativity, his kind of ambitions. And not surprising, he was flamboyant. He was also a gay writer in a time when, well, came with a certain amount of risk, but he had a partner named Carlton Hildreth. I think he might have been called Carlisle by his friends, but anyway, he lived on into the 1970s. He was a typesetter for the Savannah Morning News, and so some people that I knew him, which I always felt a little more connected to Harry Hervey that way. But in the 30s, when Savannah was very inaccessible, it took hours to get off of an interstate to get here. You just, avoided it, really. It was not a place that people went. It's also that crime hour. I mean, we've already been through the Depression in a way, but it's still I guess a rum runner town. You've got Fidel Castro here supplying speakeasies. You've got the Lucchese Mafia family. There's like a murder to 3 or 4 murders a night in Savannah downtown. So it's like a little New York City in the worst composite idea of that. And you just didn't want to come here as a tourist. I mean, you can't blame anybody. That would have been awful. But all that said, Harry Hervey and Carlton, I guess, other than being a town full of these kind of, last gasping wealthy people from way back to the sailor boys, always in town. And Bull Street was a big cruise. Even when I moved here in the 80s, that was still going on. You could just go down Bull Street late at night and, very seedy things were happening between men. So a lot of this stuff, I guess, had the appeal. And so between Charleston, Savannah, New Orleans, and then of course Harry, fascinated by the Orient, spent a lot of time in the eastern part of that world or in China and other places. But Savannah was kind of home base for an extended period and a place to come back to. And I think that's what Savannah kind of is for a lot of the locals too. They go off and make their lives and then come back and make some other marks here before they get buried in Bonaventure, right? That's the big trip. But in the 30s, there was some kind of murder on Halloween night of a 10-year-old black kid. Now, in the Savannah idea, it's beneath the buttress wall of the Pirate's House restaurant of today, and it's the old city wall of the 1750s that partly survives. And Michael O'Brien, a character in the book, the brother of the sister Zelda O'Brien, who's really the main character, he finds himself in the electric chair, justice is served, and all that. But, from the people that know the world of Harry Hervey, in some sense better than me, they would tell you that it might have happened in Charleston, but it was Hervey's way of telling the story without, I guess, putting the blame there. I don't know. But it may not be where it really happened, right, in Savannah. But okay, Zelda, she is really the light of the story. She's the magical character. She's what I call the Victor Hugo character. She's got a lovely sense of life. She's beautiful, she's strong, she's intelligent, she's a great observer, good listener, a lot of intuition. And, it's that whole Hugo thing where the odds are stacked, but the individualist will rise above. There's something about the individualist. And, the people around her in Savannah, very provincial, they collectively rebel against that. And that still goes on, by the way. It's always been a part of the colony of Georgia. Just, different social order, but it pains Zelda to be a part of it. And rightly so. She's being treated badly as the girl from the wrong side of the tracks. And, you'll never amount to anything. Forget about all your virtues. But that hardens her in the way she needs to be hardened. I always try to tell people that because that doesn't seem to be as a popular thing today, that adversity can shape you and outfit you for the rest of your life. And it does for her. But as a girl, she had admired this house called the Harper Folks Mansion. And it's on Orleans Square today. You can take a tour of it if you're ever in Savannah. It's also a secret society meeting house for the Society of the Cincinnati. And as a young girl, she really hoped that one day she might live there with her prince, and that never comes to pass. But as she goes on in life, she marries a very swaggery gangster that he's kind of a good guy, bad guy. But he loves her, and he takes good care of Zelda, but he's killed in a shootout, and Zelda's left with her young child, to raise on her own. So it's also kind of like, the widowed single mom story. So yeah, it kind of made the book a little dangerous too, or edgy or something. And bear in mind too, this is the writer that the inspiration for Pulp Fiction, the movie itself, which is Black Mask magazine. They described Hervey as the greatest Pulp Fiction writer of the 20th century. So how about that? But anyway, he wrote some edgier things, some darker things. But Zelda decides that she has had enough of Savannah. She's going to spend a part of her persona getting even with the town. I got to tell you, life sucks you in that way sometimes. And Savannah is, outfitted almost mechanically to do that if you are an individualist. But what she does, she buys the Harper Folks Mansion, as it's known today, and she turns it into a brothel. She's like, okay, Savannah, you want me to be a whore? Well, I'm going to be the queen of all you whores. I love saying that. But in the end, a policeman customer dies inside of it. She shuts it down and moves to New Orleans. And that segued into Hervey's book about New Orleans. But, and I'll just tell you this as an aside, but when I moved here, there was still one surviving brothel in Savannah, one. And when a bunch of city officials were caught going into it under hidden camera, that brothel mysteriously burned down in the night. And I remember driving by the house and seeing the note left on the door from the madam, what was left of the house, basically saying that it was permanently closed and till further notice or something like that. I don't remember the actual details, but I don't know. It was such a fast and furious scandal that happened. But I remember seeing that madam, by the way, sitting on the bus stop for years and years after that. And she looked like a painted doll that was very distressed. So, you know, imagine in Hervey's time when there were just dozens and dozens, but they probably served all kinds. So anyway, that's kind of the storyline in a sense, at a glance. But earlier in the book, when we meet Zelda, she's a young teenager and she's off to Bonaventure Cemetery to meet her love, and doesn't quite work out. But what Hervey does is makes the reader fall in love with Bonaventure through the passage. And this possibly may be the place where he was inspired to write the passage. We'll see what you guys think, but take a deep breath with me, because it's a mouthful, but it's my spring rite. It's my gift to you. I hope you enjoy it. When they reached Bonaventure, it lay drowsing in the mild April sunlight. As they entered, a flight of butterflies made sparse confetti. A pale shell road melted into a vista of pontifical splendor. The green of the live oaks and magnolias, the hoary smoke of the moss, the graying blandness of obelisk slabs and shafts, all blended into somber Gothic above the votive fires of the azaleas. Row upon row of them pile along the lanes, magenta, cerise, salmon, pink, and white, ragged, exultant hedges flaunting their carnal vividness in the celibate glooms, their prolificy gloriously obscene. They mocked the graves and made void the jury prophecies of vaults and tombs. They were eternal, flowering out of the groin of the earth. They were flames out of skulls. Zelda felt awed by this pagan exaltation in the midst of orthodox seclusion. Now, Hervey's critics were never kind. They always defined him as too wordy. But you know what, Harry Hervey? Screw them. Because if you love words, meet one of the wordsmiths of the South, and a man who just felt blessed that he was some type of temporary vessel to radiate back, give back in terms of writing everything that he had been blessed to know and understand and feel for the world around him, and share that with you, the reader, the experiencer. And so, although Hervey is no more of this world, his vibration from all of that magic wordsmithing lives on through the pages, lives on through moments like these, now lives on through watchers, listeners like yourself. And for that, I too am eternally grateful. Thanks for all the support through the years, for those of you who have known me for a long time. And yes, I too hope to put into the world some books to capture your imagination and share life's vibration with. So we'll just say happy St. Pat's, happy spring. And when you get to town, come see Harry, come see me. Take good care of yourselves.